NASA has just held an emergency briefing after what sources describe as an attempted contact with a mysterious space object passing through our solar system. Right now, as you're watching this, something extraordinary is moving through the darkness beyond Mars, something that doesn't belong here. This isn't just another asteroid or piece of space debris. This is only the third interstellar visitor humanity has ever detected. It came from the void between stars, traveling for millions of years before entering our cosmic neighborhood. But here's what makes this different from every other space rock we've encountered. NASA didn't just observe this object, they tried to communicate with it. Within hours of July 1st, NASA's Deep Space Network was repositioned. Multiple radio telescopes across 3 continents suddenly focused on this single target. The agency's most powerful radar systems, the same ones that can map asteroids 20 million kilometers away, were directed at this mysterious visitor. But what happened next has left scientists scrambling for answers. The object didn't behave like any comet they had seen before, and when NASA attempted their contact protocol, something responded in a way that no natural space object should. The emergency briefing that followed wasn't scheduled. It wasn't planned. It was necessary. What you're about to discover will change how you think about what's really out there in the dark spaces between worlds. So, how exactly does NASA attempt contact with an object millions of miles away? They have 3 weapons in their arsenal, and they used all of them. First, the Deep Space Network, NASA's most powerful radio telescopes, massive 70-meter dishes stationed in California, Spain, and Australia. They can send focused radio signals across the solar system with pinpoint accuracy. NASA regularly uses these to communicate with spacecraft as far as Pluto, but this time they weren't talking to their own technology. Second, the Goldstone Solar System radar. This beast can bounce radio waves off asteroids and map their surface features from 20 million kilometers away. When 3I Atlas passed within range, Goldstone fired its most powerful radar pulse directly at the object. The echo that came back should have told them everything about its size, rotation, and composition. But here's where things get strange. Multiple sources suggest the radar echo returned with an unexpected frequency shift, not the clean, predictable bounce you'd expect from an icy comet nucleus. Something was different. Something was wrong. NASA also deployed their newest technology, optical laser communication systems. In 2023, they successfully tested the Deep Space Optical Communication System, proving they could send laser signals across vast distances. If 3I Atlas had any reflective surfaces, a laser pulse could reveal details invisible to radar. Now, you might be wondering, why would NASA risk reaching out at all? Think about it. When you hear a knock at your door, you answer. For decades, NASA's Deep Space Network has been our way of knocking on the universe's door. But this time, the door might have knocked back. If the frequency shift reports are true, this wouldn't just be an icy rock drifting through space. It could mean the object has internal structures, metallic components, or properties we've never encountered in any natural comet. The implications are staggering. And what happened next forced NASA into an emergency briefing that was never supposed to happen. So, why did NASA move so fast? What did they see that triggered such immediate urgency? Remember when Oumuamua passed through our solar system in 2017? It took months for scientists to analyze the data. They had time to debate, to theorize, to publish papers. But with 3I Atlas, NASA went from detection to attempted contact in less than 24 hours. That's unprecedented. Here's what we know happened behind closed doors. NASA's artificial intelligence systems, the same algorithms they use to process data from the James Webb Space Telescope, were immediately tasked with analyzing every signal, every echo, every photon of light reflected from 3I Atlas. These AI systems can detect patterns that human scientists might miss. They can spot regularities in radio emissions, identify non-random fluctuations in brightness, even recognize structured sequences hidden in seemingly chaotic data. And according to insider reports, the AI found something that shouldn't exist in nature. The pattern recognition algorithms flagged sections of the radar return as potentially artificial, not random cosmic noise, not the typical signatures of ice and rock, something that looked designed. If you're fascinated by discoveries that push the limits of science, make sure you subscribe, because this story is just getting started. What the AI discovered next would explain why NASA called that emergency briefing and why they might never tell us the full truth about what they found. Here's something most people don't know. NASA and SETI already use artificial intelligence to analyze cosmic signals every single day. These machine learning systems process terabytes of data from radio telescopes, searching for patterns that human scientists could never spot manually. The AI algorithms are incredibly sophisticated. They can identify repeating sequences in radio waves, detect periodic changes in light intensity, and flag any signal that deviates from random cosmic background noise. These systems have successfully identified pulsars, classified distant galaxies, and even helped decode the structure of Saturn's rings. But when NASA's AI systems analyzed the data from 3i Atlas, something unprecedented happened. The algorithms flagged multiple sequences of non-random pulses in the object's radio emissions, not the chaotic static you'd expect from a comet heating up as it approaches the Sun, but something with structure, something with rhythm. Imagine trying to decode static on an old radio and suddenly hearing a pattern like Morse code cutting through the noise. That's exactly what the AI detected: regular intervals, repeating sequences, signals that followed mathematical progressions that don't occur naturally in space. The machine learning systems cross-referenced these patterns against every known astronomical phenomenon: solar-wind interactions, magnetic field fluctuations, plasma resonances. Nothing matched. The AI had discovered something completely outside its training data. It's the kind of moment that sends a chill down the spine of every scientist in the room, because when your most advanced pattern recognition technology can't explain what it's seeing, you're either looking at a revolutionary new natural phenomenon or something that challenges everything we understand about what's possible in deep space. Let's be clear, no one is saying this is a message from aliens. But the data patterns, if confirmed, raise questions NASA wasn't prepared to answer publicly. Was it just random outgassing from a comet nucleus, or did the object's internal structure create these repeating signals? This is the mystery NASA had to brief the world about. The RE's findings were so unusual that NASA's Planetary Defense Office was immediately notified. Within hours, the most senior scientists at the agency were analyzing the data personally. What they found next explained why the emergency briefing couldn't wait. This was not just another comet sighting, this was an object NASA tried to contact, and the results were strange enough to trigger a response from the highest levels of the space agency. Think about NASA's track record. They've observed thousands of asteroids, comets, and space debris over decades. They have protocols for everything: standard procedures for cataloging objects, predicting trajectories, and assessing threats. But 3i Atlas broke those protocols. The emergency briefing wasn't scheduled weeks in advance like normal NASA announcements. It wasn't part of their regular scientific communication schedule. Senior officials were called in during off hours. International space agencies were notified through urgent channels typically reserved for imminent collision threats. This level of response tells us something crucial: NASA found data so significant, so unprecedented, that they couldn't follow normal scientific review processes. They needed to brief government officials and international partners immediately. And it's not the first time NASA has been caught in a situation like this. There's a pattern here that goes back decades: a history of mysterious objects, unexplained signals, and briefings that raised more questions than they answered. What happened with 3i Atlas fits into a larger story NASA doesn't want you to connect, because once you see the pattern, everything changes. This isn't the first time NASA has faced something that doesn't fit their rulebook. In fact, there's a disturbing pattern that goes back decades. On August 15, 1977, the Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope detected a signal so powerful, so structured, that astronomer Jerry Ehrman wrote, "Wow," in the margins. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds. It came from the direction of Sagittarius, and it has never been explained or repeated. NASA and SETI have spent 47 years trying to debunk it. Then came 1991 VG, a small object that appeared in an Earth-like orbit that defied explanation. Its trajectory was so unusual that some astronomers suggested it might be artificial debris from an old space mission, but no space agency claimed it. The object's reflective properties and rotation pattern didn't match any known spacecraft design. Fast forward to 2017, Oumuamua enters our solar system, the first confirmed interstellar visitor. But as it departed, something impossible happened: the object accelerated without any visible comet tail or gas emissions. Harvard's AVI lab published papers suggesting it could be artificial. NASA's official explanation involved invisible hydrogen outgassing, something never observed in any other comet. Even the Voyager spacecraft, humanity's most distant explorers, have experienced unexplained phenomena. As they crossed the heliopause, both probes reported mysterious data dropouts and instrument anomalies. NASA classified these as equipment failures, but the timing was suspicious. Every decade, NASA faces a mystery that doesn't fit the rulebook: objects that behave strangely, signals that shouldn't exist, encounters that challenge our understanding of what's possible in space. 3i Atlas may just be the latest chapter in this continuing story. Researchers who lived through the Oumuamua debate said, "We learned to expect the unexpected." So when NASA rushed into this emergency session, the scientists already knew this was serious enough to demand immediate attention from the highest levels. But there's another layer to this story, because this isn't just about science anymore, it's about national defense. The moment NASA detected 3I Atlas, U.S. Space Command was automatically notified. This isn't conspiracy theory, it's standard protocol. Any unidentified object entering our solar system triggers immediate alerts to military space surveillance networks. Space Force, established in 2019, has been quietly developing rapid response capabilities for exactly this scenario. They've tested emergency launch windows that can deploy satellites or probes within hours of detecting unknown objects. The technology exists. The protocols are in place. The question is whether they use them. DARPA, the Pentagon's Advanced Research Division, maintains classified programs for analyzing potential dual-use space technologies. If an interstellar object showed signs of artificial construction, even accidentally, it would represent the ultimate intelligence opportunity. Reverse engineering technology from another star system could revolutionize human civilization overnight.